All right, here we go. Hello, and welcome to the A.W.O.L podcast. I am your host, John Harris. On my right-hand side is my right-hand man, Gabriel.
We got Mr. Illusions and A.W.O.L here.
Baby, Mr. Illusions is A.W.O.L. Today on the A.W.O.L podcast, we have Thieves of Liberty, and they've got a new EP called Yeah, You, which was released just last year. Right now I'm being joined by Sim to share some more information about this EP, what the band's got coming up into the future, and what they've been up to this year. So, Sim, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely great to have you.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it certainly is. Big thanks to Dunk for connecting us.
Dunk.
Yes, Dunk McCullough. Great guy.
That's what I hear. Is he Mr. Illusions, or are you Mr. Illusions?
Well, Mr. Illusions is actually the devil, so hopefully he's neither of us.
Carry on. So is it a song about temptations? Is it a song about...
Yes, very much so. So it's our singer Lydia. She had a dream that where we would usually go, out to bars and stuff in our hometown. She had a dream that was like everything was a little out of place, and then there was a new bar, and it was and she went in, and it was somebody in there offering people things, but there was a price to pay for everything. So it just kind of that sort of idea came through with that, and it's all about how temptation can get you, but there's always consequences for it. So yeah, we sort of built it around that.
That's a very vivid and specific dream.
It really is, yeah. I'm not sure how much of it was the dream and how much of it sort of spawned out there, but I know for sure that she definitely had a dream that there was some very strange goings on in our neighborhood, and she did not call the Ghostbusters, which I disagree with, but there it is.
I know. And then she told you about this dream, and you just looked at her and you said, "Yeah, you."
yeah, pretty much. The Yeah You comes from one of our friends, actually, the guy who's on the cover. If you've seen the artwork, it's just a very loud shirt he's wearing, and his finger guns pointing at the camera. It just every time we talk to him, I say, "Hi, how are you?" and his response is always, "Yeah, you," and so that's sort of where that came from.
Wow. And, the interesting thing is, even though it is a simple cover, you mentioned he's wearing a loud shirt, the whole cover is loud, because even though he's wearing a loud shirt, you don't give my eyes a rest from that, because the background is also...
Yeah, we wanted that real comic book style background. We just thought, our music, we like to try to be as fun as possible with our music. And so we wanted the background to reflect that. And the best way we thought of doing that was, loud shirt, fun guy on the front. Not that everybody knows who he is, but it's just sort of a bit of fun for us. And then the background itself very comic-y, and so we just thought, let's make it bright, let's make it noticeable. It would grab people's eyes on the shelves. You get the attention. It's certainly something you want.
Now, when it comes to the music video for Mr. Illusions, I see that it's a live set. Is this one of the last shows you guys would have played?
Yes. So that was recorded at a place called Independent, which is very, very close to me. It's about a 5-minute walk from where I live. So it's our hometown headline show. Usually when we play in our hometown, it's usually there. And it was, I believe it was the show that was just before the tour we went on, the Fireball tour last year.
Okay.
Which was, I don't know, do you know anything about the Fireball tour? I think there may be a version of it in America too, but over here it's sort of punk and ska bands, different lineup every year, and it's the guys from Fireball Whiskey, which I'm sure you'll be familiar with. So the Fireball UK guys, they put together a show every year, and we applied to be part of it in 2018, and we got invited to a Battle of the Bands, and we won that, and we got to play our local show, which was in the O2 Academy in Newcastle, which is a really good venue in Newcastle. Playing the main stage in there alongside Flogging Molly, The Bronx, and Face to Face. And then the band that had won the competition last year, Lost in Stereo, they were there as well. And so we played that show. And then there was other shows around the UK, London, Nottingham, Bristol, places like that. And each one had a local opener that was the same as us. They'd won their local Battle of the Bands. And then they chose a winner from out of those local shows to play the whole tour the next year. And we were very lucky to win that. And so we played the whole tour last year, just after our album came out, or the EP, sorry, came out. And that was with Less Than Jake, Goldfinger, and Save Ferris. We played every night on the tour there, which it was just so good. Like, if as a band, to have a first tour, we'd never toured before, so to have a first tour to be that good was honestly such a good experience. We're so lucky to have had that, because a lot of up-and-coming bands might have, a headline tour where they just go around the UK into a few different cities and get a few local openers and get as many people down as they can, but the venues may not be the biggest, or the crowds may not be the biggest. But for the Fireball tour, this huge event to have been put on, and for us to be the opening act for that was just so good.
Yeah, and I wanted to kind of maybe unpack that a little bit more, because I've got a few questions about that. Any bands listening in who maybe have some trepidation into getting involved into some of these contests, there's quite a few, out there now that are remarkable opportunities for bands. What was it like getting into the contest, going through the contest? What was it like winning? And what? Actually, we'll start there. I'll write down some of my other questions so I don't inundate you with too many questions. But let's start there. What was
That's
it like?
fine, yeah.
What was it like getting into the contest and going through the contest? How did your psychology change and evolve over that time?
Yeah, so we the initial sort of application was just a very standard, there's a competition running, just send us your music, send us why you believe that you deserve to be here. So because they'd sort of set this up, the Fireball tour, to be, very punk and ska based, but with a very heavy element on fun, I thought to myself, well, the band itself, we're not particularly punk, we're definitely not ska, but people have described us as punk before because we have very energetic rock, so I can kind of see the connection there. So I thought, well, we may not be the perfect fit, but we may as well apply anyway, because the worst that can happen is they'll say no. So we sent them the music, and then I just said I did the application, because usually Kieran, our guitarist, does that sort of thing behind the scenes, but he was away on holiday. So I took care of the application, and there was questions like, which band would you most like to enjoy a shot of Fireball whiskey with, and why are you the perfect openers? So I just sort of was very honest about everything and said, look, our music, we like to be as fun as we possibly can be, and we would bring the party from the first note to the last. It would be a great way to start the night, because we can just bring the fun from the off, and that maybe was what grabbed them. We sent some music as well alongside that, and they clearly liked that. So we got the reply back saying we were at the Battle of Bands. So that was when the excitement started, but also the panic, because it started to be like, oh, okay, this could happen then, because we sort of applied and we hoped we could get to be part of it, but we never thought it was a guaranteed thing for sure. So the excitement kicked in, and then we got to the Battle of the Bands, and luckily we'd had quite a few shows behind us. We were a tight knit group, and the Battle of the Bands we had to do was just everybody had 3 songs, and so we just picked our best 3 songs and just thought, let's give them everything we've got, perform our hearts out, do what we can. If it's not good enough, that's fine. But as long as we've done our best, that's all we can ask for. And we do believe that our live show is our strongest aspect as well. So getting through to that stage based on our recorded music, we thought, we can really give them a treat with our live show here.
Yeah, well, I mean, you brought up something really interesting there. Was, we're a tight-knit group. We had 3 songs. We're going to give them the best we got. And I think that is flawless advice for, any bands out there who are listening in and thinking about, how to go ahead with stuff. Is, yeah, your recordings can sound really good, but if you can't match your recordings live, then you're going to get found out pretty quickly. So it sounds like when you say you're a tight knit group, it means you guys are practicing. You know your set. You know your songs. When you have 3 songs to pick, you're not stressing out. You have a pretty good idea, I imagine, of which those 3 songs are going to be.
Yeah, that's right. It obviously the further we get on and the more music we write, that's where it starts to become, okay, which would the 3 songs be now? But at the time, when we had a couple of less tunes to choose from, that was a sort of a very easy choice for us at the time. But you sort of you adapt, and ideally everybody in the band has the same sort of mindset of which songs are the best and which ones like aren't as good, or for certain settings. If you wanted to play a show that had a bit of a lighter aspect to it, you pick your lighter songs to show off, because that's what they're looking for. So but the main thing is as long as you all are in agreement of what's going to be your best showcase for that sort of event, and maybe if the band themselves can't agree, put a poll out on Facebook or Instagram or somewhere, and ask your fans, say which of our songs do you prefer, like why do you like this one over this one, maybe, or just ask your families and friends personally, get that advice off people, and take what people say, because at the end of the day it's the fans that you're looking to please, so trust their judgment.
Yeah, something else I was just thinking off the cuff of that is to get the visceral response, is to just have somebody's girlfriend. Every band has a drummer who has at least one girlfriend. So have the girlfriend film, not with intent to make a video, but just film the band with an audience perspective, go through a set of a bunch of candidate songs, and just actually watch the video, not for you guys, but for the crowd. Hey, the crowd went wild during that song.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really good way to do it. We wrote Mr. Illusions with the intent to have some crowd interaction in there, so that one was very much an obvious pick to sort of get people involved, because there's nothing worse than going to a gig to see a band you haven't seen before and not being able to feel like you're very involved in the music. So when a band approaches and says, right, here's a part for you guys to sing along, we're going to teach you how to do it, and you can get yourself involved in the show a little bit more, and that can sometimes make people have a bit of a better time, depending on what they're there to do. So
my goodness gracious, you bring up something else. You are actually in the service industry, the entertainment service industry. Are you getting people in the crowd to forget that they have a 9 to 5?
Absolutely. That's I think that music is an escape for a lot of people. We live music. It's what we do. So for us, it's a bit of a different prospect. But you've always got to keep that sort of idea and that mindset. If you were a band and you wrote songs from the perspective of a band for other bands, other musicians will probably love your music. But if the audience can't connect to it, then you've lost a big sort of section of potential fans there. So you've always got to kind of keep that in mind of, who's this music for, who's going to be listening, what can they connect to. And I think that's part of the reason why we try to keep our lyrics, as much as there's always something to be said in our songs, the lyrical content, it's not just a bunch of words, it's always got a story. But we don't try to be too heavy with our messages so much, because we don't like to alienate people from, oh, well, I didn't really enjoy that song because, it kind of rocked, but then the lyrics just weren't anything I sort of knew about. I didn't connect with that at all. So we think if we can sort of have everybody have some loose connection to it, then, it helps people to sort of vibe with it more, almost.
I agree. Now, one of my other questions, because I didn't want to inundate you with too many, so I wrote it down, and it nicely connects to, the fan base and the audience, is from a purely selfish standpoint, what did the tour do for you? And what I mean by that is psychologically, emotionally, the old 90s term, self-esteem. What did it do for you guys to be hanging out with Less Than Jake and Goldfinger? What did it do for your fan base? What did it do for, just in general, what did that tour do for you guys as musicians, you guys as a unit?
So I think I would say that, you know, we were starting to sort of get a little bit sort of disillusioned almost, with, you know, there was not too many opportunities hitting us in the face at the time. It had been a long time since we played the show and we hadn't heard anything, and we, you know, so we just thought, well, you know, it's been a couple of months now, it's probably not going to happen. And then we got the message through from Fireball saying, can we have a chat with you? We'd like to talk. And we just thought, well, this has got to be it, surely, hasn't it? So sure enough, a couple of days later, we all got together. They gave us a ring. We had like a video call with them, and they just explained that we'd won. And we couldn't believe it because, you know, like I say, we didn't feel like we were a perfect fit. And there were a couple of bands who did seem like the perfect fit. So that was an actual really good thing, I believe, because it showed that even though there were some bands that you might think, okay, these guys would work better on that show, we must have been so good out and beyond the other bands. No disrespect to the other bands, of course, because there were some amazing bands playing there, but clearly there was just something about our show that they liked so much they thought, doesn't matter who else is on the lineup, these guys will be great. We want to have these guys on. So psychologically, we got a huge boost from that, to think, you know, they believe in us so much that they're going to put us on all these shows when there was 9 other unbelievable artists to pick from. Any of them would have been worthy winners of the show. You know, there were some really, really good bands that we were competing against to get on the show. And then to actually be on the show itself, you know, looking back now, I think we would be a little more confident in ourselves in the sort of backstage areas, you know, going to chat to people, because everybody's human, you know, and we sort of thought, well, we don't really want to bother these big musicians, you know, that they're not really interested in what we're going to do. But then, you know, a couple of nights in, we really got on with, especially the guys from Save Ferris. They were just so friendly, welcome. Everybody was, but Save Ferris, a couple of the guys made time to actually come and speak to us rather than the other way around, and we had some great chats with those guys. And then you know, after the first couple of nights, that was it. We were just great friends with them for the rest of the time. And then anytime we saw or sort of got a chance to speak to anybody from Lesson J or Goldfinger as well, they were always really friendly. You know, I had a little chat with Mike Herrera, the bass player from Goldfinger, who's also the front man of MXPX as well. And you know, we just had a really nice chat. He was a really friendly, down to earth guy, and anybody we talked to was, you know, and it was just a really good experience to have. And it's just a little bit of a shame that we went in thinking, are these guys just going to not want to be bothered by us? Because it turned out that actually they were more than happy to give us their time and speak to us and help us out. So that really helped us as well, because, you know, it showed us that we don't have to be, if we're playing with these big artists, we don't have to be scared. You know, if they don't want to talk, they'll just tell you. They'll say, look, we're tired, or we've got stuff to do. You know, we're preparing for the show or whatever. And so next time we do something like this, we will try and put ourselves out there and make those connections. You know, Moon from Goldfinger, the guitarist, one of the guitarists, he came up to me in one of the bars that we were at afterwards, and he said, look, I absolutely love you guys. My band Greek Fire, that I'm the front man of, we want to come to the UK, and I really want to have you guys on when we come. Would that be something you could do? And we were just like, whoa, yeah, sure, like, please. You know, that these are exactly the sort of things we'd love to be able to do. And for him to ask us rather than the other way around, it just shows that it's actually something that they want to happen. Because, you know, you could ask somebody, can we do the show with you guys? And yeah, sure, whatever, we'll sort that out. And it may never happen because they're just trying to be polite, or, you know, just not outwardly just say, no, we don't want it to happen. But for them to come to us and say, can we do this for you guys? That's something that really, like, you can't feel anything but validation and, you know, like, very excited from somebody from that sort of line coming to you and saying, I really like you guys. You guys are really good. Can we do something again sometime? Because it shows you that we are someone to contend with, you know. So it's just all good.
Mm-hmm. You guys are a tight knit group. I don't know if you've ever heard that or not, but you guys are a tight knit group.
Yeah. I think that's it's something we always strive to be as good as we can when we go out and play, because if you buy somebody's CD because you like the sound of the band, and then you go and see them live, you already touched on this. If you don't match that level live, it can be a bit of a disappointing experience. And we feel for us, it's almost the other way around. That we really want to try and capture our live sound in our recordings if we can, without it obviously coming out to sound like it's been just a live thing, because then just come and check out our shows. But if we could somehow get that sort of that vibe that we get live, if we can get that energy in the studio, that's where we think we'll really strike gold, to be able to show people this is what we can do, this is what we sound like. And then when they come and see us live, think, are these guys for real? Hopefully they can come away thinking, yeah, those guys really are for real. So
well, hopefully you guys find that producer, because I know that's a big thing for a lot of bands. And here in Canada locally, I've been able to help the occasional band get that sound. It's not easy to get the live sound in the studio setting, but hopefully you guys end up finding a producer who's able to make that happen for you guys. Now, so as of late, a remastered version of A.W.O.L is available. And I guess as we start coming towards the end of our interview here, I guess my big honking question is, all things considered, what should we maybe expect from Thieves of Liberty, since this year maybe didn't turn out exactly the momentum from the tour where, you're making all these connections. 2020 probably felt like a want. So I guess my question is, what is Thieves of Liberty up to for now?
Yeah, so you're very, very correct about that. We had all this momentum behind us, and then suddenly everything happened, and it's just all gone. But we actually have picked up some management, which has helped us build that momentum back up a little bit. We've got a very ambitious project that we're part of, called the Forge Ahead Initiative, which I don't know if you'll know anything about. Dunk may have mentioned it because he's involved. But basically, they're getting 10 young bands that they really believe in. The project officially starts in April next year, runs till May 2022, and they just want to try and get these bands where they believe they belong, and just all of us together doing certain gigs together, doing certain gigs separately in our own hometown, etc. And we're really excited for that to start happening. We've got a lot already. Dunk helping us get so much radio play from this. I mean, we wouldn't be talking right now if it wasn't for Forge Ahead Initiative, because they've got in touch with Dunk. Dunk has then got in touch back with us to say, look, we've got podcasts, we've got radio shows. What do you want to do? So the future for us is looking. The Forge Ahead Initiative should be really good for us. And in terms of new music, we're starting to get some demos down to hopefully look to put together a new EP. And just whenever we can maybe get in the studio, we'll release probably a single as soon as we can. And then after that, maybe another single, and then the rest of the EP, or perhaps the EP, and then do maybe like a video with a single afterwards. We'll just have to see how things go. But new music is definitely something we're really interested in doing. It's been a year now since we did You, but it was just so out of our hands.
I don't know why, but maybe it's because I'm Canadian and I'm old, but I thought of the Bare Naked Ladies for some reason in the middle of all that. It's been 10 weeks since
Yeah, it's been 1 year, not 1 week, unfortunately. 1 year since we've been able to do much, but
yeah.
But yes, I'm aware it's 7 o'clock here, so that means I guess it's about time for you to wrap up, unfortunately.
Yeah, you turn into a pumpkin, or one of us turns into a pumpkin.
Probably me, yeah. I mean, well, actually, somewhere it'll be midnight somewhere, and that'll be everyone will be turning pumpkins over there.
Exactly, especially this time of the year.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, well, thank you so much for coming on to the Rock Metal Podcast, Tim.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been told I talk far too much, but hopefully I talk just about enough for an interview. So, thank you so much.